Greetings, fellow football managers, and welcome to the profile of a completely fake footballer called Zack Knight. As you can see up here, he has transferred into my club Liverpool for £16 million from a little football team called Stoke, where he only made 3 appearances. At Liverpool, he has made 10 appearances off the bench in the Premier League. He has scored 2 goals and had 3 assists with an average rating of 7.03, which is extremely solid if you ask me. He's also made a few cup appearances, and he scored 2 goals there as well with 2 starts and 4 bench appearances. So this kid can play football. And I say kid because yes, he is a kid. Let's have a look at his full profile over here. Let me give you a moment to bask in the glory. Now, as you can see up here, I'm in April 2025, so it is season number 2 in this save. I picked this guy up essentially in the transfer window at the end of season 1. So he's been at my club for a little bit under a year. He has had a little bit of improvement, especially in the technical area. A little bit of physical stats have gone up as well. Pace has gone up, balance, definitely a little bit of jumping, strength, and acceleration have all gone up by 1 or 2, I think even. When I first saw him, he had, I think, 14 passing, 14 vision. Essentially, though, his card looked a lot like this. You could see these 3 up here were looking quite good. You could see that he had passing and technique. You could see that he had, I think, about 11 tackling at the time that I looked at him first. You could see the vision. You could see these determination and flair. Obviously, we're at 19 and 18. They haven't changed at all. Essentially, the guy was starting at a very decent level, and if he improves the way you think he might improve, this is looking a little bit like a Kevin De Bruyne in the future, if he's got the potential ability. My staff up here think he has plenty of potential ability at 3.5 star up to 4.5 star. And again, this is Liverpool in season 2. I haven't been doing dumb transfers, and that means 3.5 star to 4.5 star for Liverpool is an extremely high level of ability. So he could be world class. In fact, whether or not he is going to be world class, he's going to do a great job in whatever position you give him in that midfield with this stat set. So that's one wonder kid that I've actually gone ahead and bought. Let me just show you a couple of others that I found at the same time that I found Zack Knight. So if I go over to my shortlist here and I go right to the bottom, I want to show you a couple. One is Asahi Kubo. Now, number 1, it was the name that jumped out at me. By the way, Zack Knight was from Stoke. Kubo is at Nagoya Grampus. This will become important later. Let's have a look at Kubo. Again, look at that. Pretty decent. I could see a little bit of determination, tackling, work rate. Liverpool has a guy called Wataru Endo, and it feels right that Asahi Kubo could come in and become his long-term replacement. You can see that there's a lot of decent physical stats as well. If he trains, he can improve them. This guy doesn't look as great as Zack Knight, but you can definitely see that there's a really good defensive midfielder in there somewhere. One more player, and this one is Jorge Dominguez. Again, Club America. That's the club he's at. Again, I'll give you a moment to take a look at this. This is a guy with serious finishing. Now, to be fair, again, he's been at his club for a little while now, almost a year. I think a bit more than a year. In Mexico, the new gens come out a little bit earlier even, so I think he's been in his club for 1 year, and his finishing was 15 when I first looked at him, dribbling 14, first touch 14. So he's improved a little bit, but not that much again because he's under the AI. But again, though, if you have a look at all of this stuff, his balance of 15, determination and flair, off the ball, work rate, technique, finishing, dribbling, and first touch. Look at his height, 196. He's got 12 jumping. That will increase as he gets older and older and older. This guy's really kind of looking like a Zlatan Ibrahimovic to me. This is really looking like a Zlatan regen. He's mostly a center forward as well. I mean, this guy could become amazing just looking at these stats at the age of 16. Now, again, Club America. I do have the Football Manager editor, which is why I'm just going to cheat for a second and show you something. Normally, I don't use the editor. I really have it just to, do little experiments and sometimes to edit Manchester United because they're just so overrated sometimes. I haven't done it in any of my saves recently, but first couple of saves in FM, I always try and edit them down to realistic levels. Let's be fair, they're always wildly overrated because they're one of the most popular clubs. For all of you who've been watching this channel for a while, you know I need to rant about Manchester United at some point, so there you go. By the way, their new stadium, the $2 billion taxpayer-funded stadium, Doesn't that look awkward? That looks like something you find under somebody's trousers, doesn't it? Also, what's his face? Sir Jim Ratboy or whatever his name is was saying the north of England has, or the northwest of England has 10 Champions Leagues, and therefore you need to build us a stadium. Well, 6 of those Champions Leagues are Liverpool's, so by that logic, you should be giving Liverpool 3 billion cash, right? If you're going to give a 2 billion stadium to United. So, Jim, thanks a lot. I'll be looking forward to that 3 billion going into Liverpool's coffers. Thank you very much. Okay, rant over. So, Dominguez, let's just actually cheat and show you that this guy is worth it. Let's have a look, all right? I have seen this. 193 potential ability. Current ability, 116. 116. Look at where his dribbling, finishing, first touch, technique, work rate. Okay, to be fair, his composure is not very high, but determination and flair. He's already got decent jumping. His physicals are getting there. His potential is 193. If you know what potential is, 193 is straight up legend. Lionel Messi obviously was the 200. I think Ronaldo was at 199. That is the fake Ronaldo. The real Ronaldo, was he a 200? I don't know. Thierry Henry, I think, was a 196 in one of the FMs. I think that's the highest he was. Zlatan was a 187, 188. So this guy might actually be better than Zlatan, to be fair, right? I think Mo Salah is like a 187. So 193 is just incredible, legend, 10 years of insane football. And this is it. So I found this guy using this method. When it comes to actually finding wonder kids, there's plenty, or not just wonder kids, but good young players. There's plenty of methods out there, and guys like Zealand, probably you've watched all of his videos. He'll give you tons and tons of way to do it. First thing that I like to do, though, is make sure that my scouting recruitment focuses cover a decent part of the world. So as you can see here, I've got Saudi. That's, to be fair, just to get unhappy players from Saudi, world superstar, whatever players, who might go there for a paycheck and then get unhappy. I've covered Italy, Germany, Spain, England, Portugal, France, UK. To be fair, that's for Ireland and all of that. Argentina, Brazil, Denmark. I've also got Australia and Japan. So these are the regions that I'm currently scouting. To be fair, I should probably widen that a little bit more. I also have within my staff knowledge of a lot of other countries, places like Mexico, the US, Canada, various other countries, right? So one of the main things you want to do, I think Zealand called it wiring the world. You want to get your scouts into more and more areas. And to be fair, I've actually neglected scouting in this save a little bit. I probably would now add another recruitment focus going into Eastern Europe. I would probably like one going into sort of North Africa, that Egypt kind of area, maybe Morocco, those kind of countries. There are a lot of countries out there. Again, watch some Zealand stuff. He gives you all of this information of which countries you probably should scout. Places like Slovenia and Slovakia, I do like to scout. Serbia especially is a good place to scout. So get your scouts into all of these different areas. Something, again, I've been neglecting, to be fair, but I can still make this method work with limited country coverage as I've got here. Now, Japan is interesting. You saw Kubo. I have him because I am covering Japan. So that is step one. Whichever scouting method you want to use, that is step one. Next thing is to go for players in range. I'm just going to click clear to clear up all of my searches and stuff. Now, by setting good recruitment focuses, you can actually get your scouts to go out there and find good young players, but they're not going to find them straight away. They need some time in those countries. They need knowledge of those countries to actually get in there. They need to go and watch the under-18s and whatnot to actually find good young players. This is a way of just covering the area, getting all of those players then in your covered area to show up on a list like this, players in range. As you can see, we've got 88,000 players to look at. That should be pretty good. Now, one trick that you may or may not know of is to actually go to search and pick out players with a media description of wonderkid or promising or something like that, which gives you an idea of what people in that area think this player will become. And you can't go wrong with choosing media description of wonderkid. That is still a bit too much for me, though, because in my opinion, that takes a little while to actually get set. This is like a day one thing. Again, remember, we are in April. I've just had my youth intake, and I've just signed up my young players on contracts. So that's the kind of situation that I want from all of the other teams, especially in areas like mine, like England, like Germany, like that. I want them to have been discovered just now. They've come out from the youth intake. They've had their trial game. They've had a couple of weeks to get contracts and stuff signed up. Now is when I want them to appear on my database. What am I going to do? I'm going to go here, 15, and I'm going to choose this and go up to 16. That's it. That's all I'm doing. I'm choosing players aged between 15 and 16. This is essentially going to be the fresh out of the youth intake kind of players in most countries. Now, I think there are some countries where you get regens at age 18 and 19 or whatever. But I can't be bothered because if I go up to 18 or 19, I'm just going to bring in so many other existing players, and that's not what I want. I'm kind of looking for new, fresh, amazing regens. Okay, let's go. I'm going to sort descending transfer value. So we're going to get the most highly rated players in a descending list. That's it. There is something you need to know. What's going to show up here is going to be transfer value. So transfer value is an amalgamation of a lot of different things, a lot of different properties, factors, whatever you call it, variables. One of those variables is going to be the club that they're at. Teams like Manchester City have an amazing youth system. They're developing amazing talent. And you can see that in real life as well with guys like, was it Morgan Rogers, Cole Palmer, whoever, coming up from the Manchester City system and getting chucked out and becoming stars at their new teams. They're providing really, really good players. So that's fair. So a lot of the time when you do a search like this, you're going to get a couple of Manchester City players. You're also going to get Barcelona players. You're going to get players from these really good youth systems who are going to be just valued immediately a little bit higher because of how good they're expected to be since they're at those clubs. I will generally disregard players from good clubs in this kind of view. Now, that's not to say that these two guys who come up right at the top here, 15 years old, transfer value up to 40 million, we just look at him here. He could be good, but just looking at him like this is not telling me anything. Sure, yeah, the guy can mark a little bit, decent positioning. Physicals are actually pretty good. He looks like a decent defensive-minded midfielder. He could have amazing PA. Let's actually just check on that just for the sake of knowing. 141. Look at that. Complete nonsense. So 141 is probably a guy who can eventually do a job at the Premier League. So at a, let's say, Europa League kind of level. But if you are a top team in the Premier League or you want to win your Bundesliga, your Serie A, 141 is probably going to be your squad player or a guy on the fringes. He's not going to be the guy who's starting for your team week in and week out. That is kind of what we're looking for. So the fact that this guy is at Man City is what's creating a lot of this transfer value. He's probably signed up a good deal as well. So his value is huge. So disregard the players from those amazing clubs. Again, they could be great, but just disregard them for now. Like this guy looks all right. There's a bit more here, especially on the physical side, but let's disregard him. Remember what I said earlier about those other guys that I showed you, including Dominguez at Club America. We got Zack Knight from Stoke and Asai Kubo from Japan somewhere. These are smaller clubs or more out-of-the-way areas. Those are the kind of clubs that I'm looking at now. That's kind of how I'm filtering my mind to look at these players. So immediately we're looking at a guy like Jamie Williams from AZ. This guy could be good. 16 years old, finishing 17. Amazing. Technique 17 again. So this could be a really good striker just looking at him right there. He's got the raw materials just from this view. He's got anticipation. He's got composure. He's got acceleration, a little bit of fitness. This guy could be a good Pipo Inzaghi type player. Tries first time shots as well. You know what? He's probably going to be quite good. Let's have a look. I have no idea about how good he is. 177. There you go. This could be amazing. To be fair, right? This is a high transfer value. If you are playing in most clubs, most leagues, you're probably not going to be able to afford him. But that's okay. We're just looking at this list from the top. Again, if we go back to Dominguez, his transfer value was 7 to 10 million. Zack Knight, I picked up for 16 million. These are a little bit more achievable. These are the kind of fees that you could pay if you're just getting promoted from the Championship to the Prem. If you've survived a season in the Bundesliga, you should be able to pick up a couple of these guys. You know, even if you're in the Championship, to be fair, you might be able to grab one or two of those players for those kind of transfer fees. So we are talking, again, finding great young players to help you get your save to the next level, get you that Champions League win in a couple of years with some of these players, all right? So here we go. So that's why, again, the transfer fees will be quite high as we look at them. So the non-Sky could be quite decent. Okay, yep, there's plenty there, especially on the finishing side. But let's just go down. Let's just look at the club first before we look at the name. Again, your Arsenals and Barcelonas, I think you would just disregard them straight away. Ajax, again, is a place with a really good youth system, so their players are going to be highly rated, even though this guy looks quite decent, to be fair. Let's keep going down. Bayer Leverkusen, Leeds. Okay, Leeds is an interesting one. Harry Gray. To be fair, he's already in the database. We should know about him already. I recognize that name. Herenveen could be interesting. This guy could be quite decent. Oh, look at that. Oh, there's something there. Marking 15, tackling 15, technique 14. He's got a bit of crossing. Very, very good physicals. Okay, very, very short. That's a problem. But he's got great ingredients as a left back. To be fair, this could be your backup left back in a mid-table team almost, I would say, at age 16. Okay, maybe a little bit more mentals needed, but you know what? As an attacking fullback, he could do a backup job with those 15s up there. Very nice. So again, there, we can check his potential and stuff if you want, just to show that he could do a job. Again, 177 with a current ability of 120. Very nice. And again, we can just find those guys just by looking at the smaller clubs. Smaller clubs also mean they are probably going to be more willing to accept an offer to go, and they're probably going to be a bit cheaper. You're not going to be able to bully Man City into selling you someone. He's all right. Let's find something really amazing for you as we go now. Look at that. Hey, Saudi wonder kid. He should be all right, to be fair. Yeah, very good. Good little winger there. Braga, Flamengo, Everton. No, nothing much we're looking at. Again, this could take a time. I like to actually make myself a nice coffee, sit down, and scroll this database like I'm looking through player profiles in real life. And to be fair, it's only about 10 or 15 minutes work. Standard Liège, that's not the biggest club. It is a big club, obviously, in Belgium. But, look at this. This could be fun. Frederick Pla. Is that how you say that? Natural fitness is there. Fairly determined is a decent personality, but we can fix that, obviously, with tutoring. He's got dribbling at 13. That's good. First touch of 15. Very good. Technique of 14. Brilliant. Passing and vision. That combination is there at 13, 14. That's, again, really good. He's got long shots. You can see that might come up. So this guy looks like a really interesting little playmaker. Flair isn't super high, but he's got a bit of pace. Okay, he's small too. So he could be an interesting kind of regista playmaker type guy. Let's take a look. Again, argument's sake, where is he? 175. Not bad. This guy could play at the top level of football. No problem at all. Let's keep going. Willem Twee. This is another guy I would look at straight away. Interesting. Look at that. 15 pace, 15 aggression, 15 bravery, 14 flair, 14 finishing, 14 technique. He's not got much else, but he looks very interesting as a striker. Tries killer ball off him. That could be dodgy with vision of 8. So again, this is another guy that I would just get your scouts on. Get your scouts to check them out and then check out their PA. Obviously, you don't want to be using the editor. Well, to be fair, it's your game. You do what you want. And I wouldn't use the editor. I would get my scouts on them, especially to get those hidden attributes and stuff like that. But there you go. So we are finding some really interesting players. As you saw, we've already found a couple of 170 odd potential players, and you're only going to be paying, what, 10, 15 for them. Look at the transfer values here, just 11, 13. If you're going to get 177 PA, which is a world-class player, or at least an elite, no, to be fair, 177 is actually world-class, this is nothing in terms of a transfer fee. Let's keep going. Baskonia. Nah, something's wrong with that. Something's wrong with that. Yep, Athletic Club Bilbao. Again, good player, really good player. But Baskonia, I'm not sure why it chose that. Maybe, is he at loan or something? Ooh, Leuven. This is not a strong team. This is a small team. This guy could be fun. Let's have a look. Oh my God. Hello. Okay, guys. Personality, resolute. That is number one. So he won't even need tutoring to get good. Resolute is a brilliant personality. He's got determination, professionalism, everything you want. You can just let this guy cook, right? And look at all of this stuff. He's got technique 16, passing 15, vision 16, positioning 15 again. So defensive side of things, he can really do a job. Marking's 8, to be fair. Tackling's 10, so that'll improve. He's got high bravery and anticipation of 15. Oh my goodness me. This could be an absolutely insane regista deep lying playmaker. This guy could boss your midfield going forward if he's got any kind of potential ability. All right, look. I'm going to stake my house on this guy. He's going to be amazing. He's at a small club, Leuven. His value's 10 to 12. And look at where he's starting off. To be fair, he could have a high current ability, which gives him some of these stats, like technique, passing, and vision, essentially. That's the holy trinity that I'm looking at here for a defensive midfielder. Just with those three, he can do a great job for you. And then you add on a little bit of tackling, add on first touch, obviously, add on composure, add on a little bit of flair, a little bit of positioning, and this guy's going to be amazing. Those physicals at 10, 11, 12, with a bit of training, you can get them up to sort of 13, 14, 15s on all of them, and that'll be incredible. Okay, this guy's got to be good. He's got to be good. Let's have a look at him, all right? Let's have a look at him. If this number's high, video's over. Let's have a look. Here we go. 195. 195. So if you downloaded FM Genie Scout or something, and, looked at all of your regens at the end of the season and, try to find your next big wonderkid signing, this is your guy, 195. And we have found him. To be fair, we don't have that assurance that he's 195 without using something like the editor, but we found him. At this point, you're hitting scout player right here, and you're getting your scouts on this guy. You're going to check them out. Your scout's going to tell you all of the stories, all of his hidden attributes. Scout him once, twice, thrice, and then go buy him. That transfer value won't be much higher than 10 or 12 million. We can ask his agent. To be fair, he might not transfer right away because he's probably just signed a youth contract. But you know what? Let's give it a try. He's not interested because his age means he will not be able to complete the move in the near future. Yeah, there you go. So this guy won't be able to move right now. I think he'll have to move at 18, but he could be your long-term signing. Throw him on your watch list or your short list and just go in for him when his age is right, depending on which country you're in. If you're in continental Europe, I guess you can actually get him right now. So if you're in the Bundesliga, if you're in Serie A, Spain, whatever it is, this is going to be your new Ballon d'Or player. There you go. I think that will underline what I'm trying to do here. So make yourself a coffee, just edit your search, go 15 to 16 after, a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks after you've had your own youth intake, so that you've got your country players in there and, regional kind of players, because most of the regional teams will have youth intakes at a similar kind of time. Just that, 15 to 16, okay, sort by transfer value descending, ignore some of the big clubs, look for little clubs. That's how we found this guy, by looking at Leuven and then clicking on him and then going, oh my goodness, there's raw materials here. Send your scouts in, get the job done. If you've got the editor or something like that, if you like using, because let's be fair, we don't have that much time. Some of us have limitations in terms of time. We just want to enjoy the game. Go for it. If you want to play it realistic, get your scouts in there, scout him up. Your scouts, unless they're absolute duffers, should tell you how good this kind of guy is. But there you go. That's the video. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. As always, I will talk to you in the comments below. Have a good one.